We all do it, probably dozens of times a day, right? You have a question, you pull out your phone, you type it in, and up pops that familiar page of blue links. It's simple, it's reliable, and, well, it might be about to completely disappear. That simple act of searching is right now in the middle of its biggest revolution in decades. Yeah, that page of blue links, I mean, think about it. It's basically been our map to the entire internet for a generation. But what happens when that map gets replaced by, say, a personal tour guide? What if, instead of getting a list of places where you might find an answer, you just got the answer directly? So this is what's driving the whole revolution. It's called generative AI search, but a lot of people are just calling it an answer engine. And the idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Instead of handing you homework, a long list of links you have to click and read through, it does all that reading for you. It synthesizes everything from all those different sources and just hands you a single, straightforward summary. It is a total game changer. All right, so first up, let's take a look at how this new way of searching is already starting to shake things up. I mean, for the first time in a long time, the search engine throne is actually being challenged. And get this, it's not by the usual giants you'd expect. Nope, it's the startups, companies like Perplexity AI, that are really leading the charge here. They're calling themselves answer engines, and they are proving that, yeah, people are definitely hungry for something new. Okay, so what's all the buzz about? Why is everyone so excited? Well, honestly, it's because when this technology actually works the way it's supposed to, it feels less like a tool and more like, I don't know, magic. Let's dive into that promise. And this right here, this is where you can really see that magic in action. I'm sure you've been there, right? You're trying to remember the name of something, a restaurant, a movie, whatever, but you can only recall a few vague details. With old school search, you'd be totally stuck, just guessing keywords. But in this case, a user just typed in what they remembered, almost like they were talking to a friend, and boom! It found the exact brewery they were looking for, instantly. This comparison really nails the difference. On the one hand, you've got the old way. You are the researcher. You get a list of links, and you have to piece all the clues together yourself. But on the other hand, you have the new way, where the AI becomes your personal researcher. It gets what you're asking, it does all the heavy lifting, and it just delivers you the finished product. Totally different experience. You can see why this is so appealing, right? You get direct answers, not just links. The information is all synthesized for you. You can ask follow-up questions like you're having a real conversation. And, this is a big one, it gives you sources and citations so you can check its work. It's basically being sold as the perfect personal research assistant. So, what's the catch? Because there's got to be a catch, right? Well, what if some of this is, a bit of an illusion? Right, because this is where the story takes a pretty sharp turn. For all of that incredible promise, it turns out there's a real dark side to getting your answers all neatly packaged up for you by a machine. Let's just start with a number, 37%. According to a university study, that was the error rate for Perplexity AI. And some of the other AI tools they tested, they were wrong as much as 94% of the time. Just let that sink in for a second. This is the first really big crack in the shiny armor of these so-called answer engines. And here's what makes that so dangerous. The AI doesn't know that it's wrong. You have to understand, these systems are designed to sound confident, not necessarily to be factually correct. And that creates a perfect storm for spreading misinformation, because you get an answer that sounds totally authoritative, even when it's completely made up out of thin air. This brings us to what you could call a new research burden. Just walk through this with me. You ask a question. You get back this beautiful, clean, well-written summary with citations. Looks amazing, right? But then you decide to do your due diligence and actually check those sources. And that's when you find it. One source plagiarized another one, and a key fact is based on a totally outdated article. All that time you thought you were saving? Poof, gone. Now you're just spending it untangling the AI's mess. So it all kind of adds up to this crisis of confidence. You've got hallucinations, which is when the AI just invents facts, like that infamous time one suggested using glue to make cheese stick to pizza. It pulls from unreliable sources, like fan sites instead of official ones. It serves up old news like it just happened yesterday. And to top it all off, there are some serious ethical questions about its web crawlers just ignoring the rules that websites set up to block them. Look, these problems aren't just an inconvenience for you and me. They point to a much, much bigger shakeup. Because this isn't just about changing our personal search habits anymore. This is threatening to change the fundamental structure of the entire internet. Yeah, the stakes here are incredibly high. The internet as we know it has been built on a kind of simple, unspoken deal for decades. Search engines send traffic to websites, and those websites, the ones creating the content, can then support themselves with ads or subscriptions. Answer engines, well, they just might break that entire deal. Just take a look at these numbers. A study found that when an AI summary shows up, the number of people who actually click through to the original website gets cut almost in half. This is what people are calling the zero-click threat. And you have to ask the question, if we all get our answers without ever visiting the source, how are the people who create that information, the journalists, the bloggers, the experts, how are they supposed to survive? This threat is forcing a complete rewrite of the rulebook. For the last 2 decades, the name of the game has been SEO, search engine optimization. It was all about doing whatever it takes to get your link to the top of that list. But now, a whole new game is emerging, GEO, generative engine optimization. The goal is no longer to get a click. The goal is to get cited by the AI in its summary. So after all of this, the incredible promise on one side and the serious peril on the other, where does that leave us? What does the future of finding information actually look like? At the end of the day, it really boils down to this one fundamental trade-off. What do we gain? We gain incredible convenience. Direct, summarized answers, faster results for simple stuff, a more conversational way to explore topics. But what do we risk? Well, we risk reliability. We risk having to fact-check everything ourselves. And we risk undermining the entire web ecosystem that these tools are built on in the first place. And so, as this technology solidifies its place as our new front door to information, we're all left with a pretty big choice to make. When it comes to the future of search, are we going to choose convenience over truth?